everybody, welcome back to another FIFA 21 career mode video. It is the MasterBucks here again. How are we all doing? Back again with another career mode video, and with a video that took a surprising amount of time to put together. I normally don't go too much into the behind the scenes of making the videos, but holy hell, this took a while to set up. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we have loaded up a career mode in FIFA 21, but there is going to be one distinct difference. I'm in control of Manchester City here, okay? Team that's probably going to win the Premier League. Let's be fair. When you win 21 games or whatever in a row, it's probably likely. What I have done, ladies and gentlemen, if the title wasn't a dead giveaway, I have gone into career mode and changed the overall of every single player in the Premier League to match their highest ever overall at any point in FIFA. I have brought every single player back to their prime. So every overall that you see here, Aguero at a 90 overall, De Bruyne 91, and Edison 88, all of these are all the highest ratings that these players have ever been at any point in FIFA. You may not see him too much with Manchester City players. I mean, Fernandinho's up to an 87, Laporte back up to an 87. There are some that are more noticeable than others, but let's be real. A team like this, Man City, where almost every single player is at the peak of their powers, is not going to be as noticeable, is it? But if you go to, say, a team like Manchester United, David De Gea back up to a 91 overall, for crying out loud. Much better than his 86. Keep scrolling down, you got Paul Pogba back up to an 88 rating. He's currently only 86 at the moment. You go even further down, you'll have a guy like, Edison Cavani back up to an 89 overall. Jesus, and it just gets even bigger for Manchester United. Like, even Juan Mata's back up to an 87. That is huge. But let's start actually going through some of the more notable teams and maybe even some other teams that I think have had quite a fair bit of an upgrade as a result of every player going back to their prime. And then we might sim out a season, see who's performing the best, not just in terms of what teams are doing well in the league, but what players are performing. I'm super intrigued as to how this is going to go. First up, let's take a look at Arsenal. Okay, so we've got Lacazette up to an 86 rating, as well as a few others like, let's see, Granit Xhaka back up to an 84. Bellerin's only gone up by 2, but he's up to 81. Leno is up to 86. Here's a big one for you. David Luiz is up to an 86 overall now, so he has flown up, and he now becomes by far the best defender in the Arsenal team. It's big, isn't it? And hell, I even think I saw another one here, like Willian at an 85. One of the players that, I don't know, seems like Arsenal fans hate his guts. He had an okay game, to be fair, against Leicester not that long ago, but now he is one of the integral players in the team, once again out of nowhere, back up to his peak. Moving on over now to Chelsea, you'll see again another couple of pretty decent improvements. Timo Werner is up to an 86 rating. You've got N'Golo Kante. It's not much of an upgrade, but he's back up to 89. A huge upgrade here for Thiago Silva, back up to his peak at an 89. So I think you're realizing now all the players that have, signed for clubs that, the players that used to be absolutely sick and maybe they've gotten a little bit older, dropped off in overall. These are the guys that are going to end up being amazing. Kepa Arrizabalaga gets a bit of a kick up the arse in terms of overall. Giroud's back up to an 80 rating, Havertz to 84. Antonio Rudiger's up to an 81, as well as Marcus Alonso back up to an 81. And yes, of course, Azpilicueta to an 86. That is another massive improvement for him right there. Manchester United, that we already looked at before, of course. You're going to see some huge movers here, we already know. For example, Martial, out he goes. Cavani goes up top, 100%. You've got Greenwood here at the right midfield position. Nah, bugger that. Let's put bloody Juan Mata in there. So just like that, you've got Matic himself going up to an 85, his highest overall. Pogba to 88, Mata as well. My goodness me, how ridiculous is this? Bailly's up to an 84, for crying out loud. I'm surprised Luke Shaw's not been higher rated. David De Gea back to a 91 overall, which is like a 5+ increase from what he's at right now. Just ridiculous. I know he's technically on loan to West Ham in real life right now, but even Lingard is back up to Lingardinho levels at 82. To be fair, I think we've now realised he never left an 82 overall rating really in real life. He just had to go to West Ham to prove it, everybody. Even a guy like, Phil Jones, he's back up to his highest rating of only 78. I can't believe that guy never cracked 80. And even Romero up to 79. Every player that's had a little bit of a downgrade has just gone and fixed that right up. Now we push on to Liverpool. Again, you wouldn't expect to see too many massive changes here with a team that's so in form and so good. Only last year won the Champions League, 2 years ago. Champions League and then the Premier League last season. But there are still some moves. Sadio Mane and Salah, they stay the same. But Firmino dropped to an 86. He's now back up to his highest rating of an 88. It's crazy that, I don't know for me that he ever got that high, but whatever. Thiago up to an 88 as well. Definitely not looking like he'll get to that point anytime soon again. Henderson's up to 86, but to be fair, I think that is barely an increase at all. Fabinho at an 87 is about the same. These guys, Alexander-Arnold and Robertson's the same. Alisson's the same. There's very little movement in the starting 11. But you can go to the bench and you can see Keita's up to an 83. James Milner's up to an 82. Amazingly, you just would have assumed a guy that's been around as long as he had would have been a little higher rated, but no, 82 is his peak. Van Dijk, obviously on the bench because of his injury, but he gets a little upgrade, only by a little bit. He's up to 91. He's 90, I think, in FIFA 21 at the moment, but just the one overall increase, that's his peak reached again right there. And again, a lot of young players and, you know, really just players that are only just making their FIFA debuts anyway, so there is not a lot of higher overalls that they've had at any point. So it's only really about 10 players per team I see normally that actually change their overall. But either way, Liverpool's team is still sick, and even with the ridiculous amount of new overalls and huge increases that we saw for Manchester United, Liverpool could still be a favourite. And the final one of the top 6 teams we'll take a look at is Spurs, and we'll still see a few other players and a few other teams, maybe not in as much detail, but there are some big ones to be had at Spurs, particularly one. And no, prizes for guessing who that's going to be. Harry Kane up to a 90. Good for him. Very minor changes in the starting 11. You've got Sissoko going up a little bit. Alderweireld's up to an 87 and Lloris up to an 88. But this man, oh baby, back to his peak. Gareth Bale is now a 90 rated player again. So even though he's been playing sick as of late, I feel like he's only 82 in FIFA, which, okay, fair enough for when he first went to Spurs and wasn't really doing much with them in the first half of the season. Maybe there's not much of an excuse to say that he didn't deserve to be 82, but with the way that he's been playing as of late, he definitely deserves an upgrade. And I wouldn't say he's played at his peak like he was previously at Spurs, but the 90 rated beast is back. Gosh, you've even got a guy here like Joe Hart, obviously, was once 85 rated back when he was doing his trade and at his peak at Man City. He's just a bench player for Spurs now, but even he is now 85. I don't think he gets to take Hugo Lloris's spotting goal just yet, but still though, that's a sick backup for them. Dele Alli, who's really been struggling and kind of out of the rotation, even this man is now, pretty well worthy of a shout of getting back into the starting 11 as well, now that he's back up to 85. So all these players getting back to their peak, and Spurs are even a shot of maybe winning the Premier League title as well. So some huge movers for sure in the top 6, but looking elsewhere in the Premier League, a couple of other more notable players, like you've got Branislav Ivanovic, currently at West Brom. He's up to an 83 again. Kieran Gibbs, up to an 80. So you still see some guys that were just, that have gone up by, at the very least, 5, 6, 7 overall. Sometimes even almost getting a growth of plus 10. That's how much they had fallen off. At Sheffield, you've got Phil Jagielka, who has now just become the highest rated player at that club after going back up to 81. At Crystal Palace, you've got Gary Cahill up to an 84 centre-back now. And a guy as well, also like Christian Benteke, you know that he's like low 70s with his rating now. Like he is so fallen off, so horrifically, but now even he is back up to being an 80 rated striker again. Jeez, I tell you what, Palace has a few. Even Nathaniel Klein, aka Nathaniel Kleiny, is up to an 82. Bloody Butland at an 81 as well. Shit, there's a chance he could have even been higher rated than that, surely. You got Danny Welbeck, 80 rated striker, currently doing it for Brighton as well. There's so many. Geez, it's not even the biggest one at Brighton. You got Adam Lallana, for crying out loud, up to an 83. He becomes the highest rated player in that team. Oh, but holy dooly, this is probably another one of the bigger ones, right up there with, Cavani, Mata, Bale. It's James Rodriguez, who's only 82 rated in the game, but 88 rated. That's his peak. Even Blake Allen's 83 in game. He's up to 85 now, so Everton have got a handful of very tidy players. God, let me just chuck one more in as well, just for shits and giggles. Andy Carroll is back up to his best as well, 81. The the perfect 35 million pound deadline day signing. Thanks again, Liverpool. I can't... It was all downhill ever since he joined that football club. Okay, fine. One more, because I keep finding new ones, I'm sorry, okay? And I hope this also just, again, reaffirms what I said before of how much bloody time and research, that was a voice break, how much time and research went in to doing this, okay? Walcott's even back to an 82. Again, surprising, you think he'd be high rated as well. But that is it, ladies and gentlemen. All the most notable movers in the Premier League, all 20 teams, every single player has been looked at, researched, back up to their highest overall. So again, with the insane amount of effort that I put into this, I'd seriously appreciate some love. I know I by default ask you to like and subscribe after every video anyway, but I mean this time really, drop a like on this video. I'd seriously appreciate it. Hell, I don't know, if this gets enough love, we hit like 5k, 10k likes, whatever the hell, I'm not gonna set a goal. Maybe I go even bigger. Maybe I include Champions League teams and we do this all again. But either way, people, let's see what goes on. I'm going to sim all the way to, let's say, January. Halfway through the season, we're going to see what the table's looking like. I'm going to see how the Golden Boot race is going. Hell, we could see a guy that is completely removed from high-level goal scoring in the Premier League in real life, completely top the charts maybe. Like, who knows what's going to happen now with every single player in the Premier League back up to their prime. Here we go then, people. Simulating ahead. I will be with you shortly. Let's see how this one goes. So let's take a look at this then, people. So far, we are seeing a top 6 or so that looks kind of familiar, for sure. Liverpool are still, even though they didn't really move all that much, up toward the top, or are top of the Premier League. Manchester United, I knew were going to be right up there as well with their talent. Spurs, Man City, Everton, of course, like we mentioned, they had some big movers, like, for example, like James Rodriguez. Leicester City, Chelsea, West Ham, they're the top 8. A few teams are missing. Arsenal are in 9th. You've got bloody Newcastle in 10th as well that have moved up a fair bit. But who, at the moment, is struggling? West Bromwich Albion can't buy themselves a win, even though they had a few decent defenders go up in overall. Crystal Palace had, what am I saying? Gary Cahill and Ben Teke and a handful of others, but that's not really helping them. Then you've got Fulham as well that aren't really going that great. So yeah, it's looking a bit dodgy, but however, we take a look at the top goal scorers, and a few of the players that I suspected would be amongst the top of the goal scorers are right where I thought they would be. You've got Edison, Cavani, and Gareth Bale, just for starters. Cavani is currently tied with Mo Salah with exactly 21 games played, exactly 15 goals. Edison Cavani, you would never expect to see him on the top of the Premier League top goal scorers at this stage, halfway through a season, a little over halfway through a season. Bale, you wouldn't expect to be up there, but even out on the right wing, he's got just as many goals as a 90 rated Harry Kane. Timo Werner is like in 7th place with 10 goals in 21 games, same as Martinelli, very surprisingly enough, but Timo Werner up to an 86, that's helped him out a bit. With Firmino up to an 88, he's got 9 goals as well. James Rodriguez right down the bottom has 6 goals in, for some reason, only 11 matches. Maybe he's injured there, but geez, Everton are not really utilising the most of their star man right there. And if we look at the top assist getters as well, Heung-min Son on top, but in terms of players that have actually moved, you've got Roberto Firmino up to his 88 with 6 assists, and Cavani again. Cavani looks like he is the one that has seriously come back to life the biggest with these overall increases. I mean, you've also got some others. In 12th place is Dele Alli, so he's up there as well, as a handful of other people as well. Clean sheet wise, you've got 90 rated Alisson and 88 rated Edison, but they didn't even really move. Lloris went up to an 88, he's got 9. De Gea's up to a 91, by far the biggest or most, the most significant goalkeeper overall increase, maybe apart from Joe Hart, but he's in 6th place, languishing with only 7 clean sheets from 21 games. How very, very interesting. But anyway, people, let's advance to the end of the season now. Let's take a look. We've had a little bit of an idea. It's still very, very close up toward the top, so we might not see Liverpool finish on top. We could see a huge shake-up. There are still plenty of other players that'll eventually get games too. I think there's a lot that could still happen, but let's go to the end and see how this one finishes up. Well, take a look at that, people. 38 games played, and yep, Liverpool do end up finishing on top. Spurs in 2nd, Manchester United in 3rd, Manchester City in 4th. At the end, there was almost no movement. I know I said that, there might not be any movement. No, there could have been a lot of movement, and nothing really happened. I've got something to tell you, though, about the final game of the season, and you're going to want to, believe me, stick around for that. But anyway, before we keep looking, let's see. Arsenal in 9th, Newcastle fell a little bit, Crystal Palace and Fulham dragged themselves out, but West Brom never really got going. Sheffield ended up getting relegated. Even when you bring their best players up to their peak, it's just not going to be enough. They're destined to go back down. And Brighton as well also get relegated, just like they're potentially threatening to do in real life as well. It's intriguing. But anyway, back up toward the top of the table. You see how there Liverpool have finished 4 points ahead of Spurs, right? So, I'm in control of Tottenham right now in this career mode save. Do you want to know who the last game that we played was against? Yeah, I think I'm giving it away, aren't I? Yep, oh my god, Liverpool and Tottenham played the game at the very end of the season to decide who would win the Premier League, and would you believe it? Shocker, Tottenham bottled it. They threw it away, Liverpool beat them, and Liverpool beat Tottenham to win the Premier League once again. It's the Champions League final all over again. Can you believe it? Tottenham just had to win that game and they would have been champions. But nope, couldn't get it done. Doesn't get much better for Spurs fans either, because in the FA Cup final, they also lost to Liverpool. It's unbelievable, but surely they won at least one piece of silverware, didn't they? Yes, thankfully. My goodness, they beat Everton 4-2 in the Carabao Cup final. Champions League 2 was also won by Liverpool, so they did the treble. Unbelievable for a team that really none of their players significantly moved up at all. Really, none. Only a handful of bench and reserve players only went up by 2 or 3. That was it. Mental stuff. Completely mental. You've got Salah in the end finishing on top with 26 goals. Cavani ended up with 22 goals. So a huge turnaround for him. Kane, should I say, got 22 as well. With 38 games played, Sterling and Done apparently did bits for Brighton. Mane, Fernandes, Son. You keep going down. There aren't too many other big name players that gone up by a super amount, but yes, Bale is there with 14 goals in 36 games played. Roberto Firmino with 13, and Timo Werner. Everton's Rodriguez with 13, and topping the assist getters as well, Cavani. I think Cavani is the biggest, by far, success story of bringing everyone back to their prime. That is for damn sure. But there you have it then, people. That is what happens when every single Premier League player is brought back into their primes. You still see Liverpool winning the Premier League. Spurs still bottling almost every significant trophy or chance at a trophy that they have, apart from the Carabao Cup. We'll give them that. But in the end, it doesn't seem like too much changes. You definitely see some players come roaring back, like a Bale or a Cavani or Rodriguez, to an extent maybe Dele Alli, and a handful of other players. Still some very intriguing stuff. It was fun. Like I said, put so much time into researching and making sure that out of every single player in the goddamn Premier League, that their overall was the highest that it had ever been in FIFA. So I'd really appreciate the love on this one if you could. And let me know as well, if you enjoyed this, do you want another one of these where we include Champions League teams as well? So who would win the Champions League with every single one of those players also boosted back up to their primes as well? I'd love it if you guys would let me know, but thank you so much regardless for making it all the way. Lads, you're the best, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Thank you all for watching. My name is MasterBucks. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you later, and bye-bye. What the fuck?